Should I change my Zoom background? It's fine.
No, it's fine.
Great. One of my favorite up first.
We are live on Facebook with Matty Yohanna. He brings 20 years of unbelievable entrepreneurship. He's an investor. He's raising capital across many industries. I'm reading your bio more or less because your bio is so long that I'm not actually going to read your bio because then we'd lose people along the way. It's more fun to really talk about.
Far more interesting in person, I promise.
You are far more, you and I just met not that long ago. And I said to you, I'm the type of person that when I meet someone, I just know instinctively we're going to be friends for life. You like fell into that category. So you're kind of stuck with me. There you go.
Well, buy me a drink first and then we'll talk. No, just kidding.
Well, not a problem. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, it won't be a Starbucks either because you are the king of the corner of 660 Woodward Roasting Planet, Detroit. So before we get there, give everyone a little bit about who you are. I'll let you tell everyone.
Let's see. I New York born, California raised.
See, that's why you and I hit it off, because I like to pretend I'm from New York. Not even close, but I like to say I'm a New Yorker at heart.
So, we have mad love for Detroit. I lived there for a couple of years while we owned the store. I was teaching at CCS. We're doing a bunch of good things with, I sit on the board of Build Institute. Shout out to April Boyle. Hill Harper and I have been longtime friends and colleagues, business partners on a bunch of things. And now, end of 2016, I had invested in the company. I got Hill to invest in the company, and he had just done something for Justice for Flint. And he's like, hey man, we need to do something in Detroit for the kids, for the youth, own a business. And so the Detroit roasting plant location was for sale, and we bought it. And I moved to Detroit, and we turned it around and added some new things, and we're currently just open this week. Skeleton staff, edited menu, condensed hours, and are planning something big for the grand reopening in the fall. New look and feel, new roaster, new equipment, and knock wood, a couple more locations to announce in Detroit forthcoming.
So I'm back up a little bit on two things. Why was it super important for you and Hill to really invest in Detroit? That's one question. And the second is, I want you to really talk about Roasting Planet, because it's not your typical grab your cup of coffee. It's far more than that.
Yeah, I mean, if Hill spoke, I think there's an engine of entrepreneurship that permeates Detroit that is not readily apparent from the outside in. And I think there's whether accurate, it's definitely not accurate in my mind or not. There's, I think most people think of Detroit as backward looking, or what it was just a few years ago. But I'm proof positive, as well as, a bunch of things we've been doing in Detroit. I helped bring LinkedIn to Detroit, classmate of mine, super senior there. And, the work we're doing with Build Institute is supporting entrepreneurship. I went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program in Detroit, which is producing some great entrepreneurs, and they all need support. But also, so I'm from New York. I went to NYU undergrad. I teach 2 classes there part-time. I did my MBA at Stanford. And if Detroit has this, and Michigan has this talent pipeline that comes out of Wayne State, CCS, Michigan State, University of Michigan. And if you don't want to work for Dan Gilbert, I call him Uncle Dan, and you don't want to work for the car companies, you don't want to work for that ecosystem, you're moving to New York, Boston, San Francisco, LA. And so you got to expose our nation's engine, which is the talented youth that come out of colleges and high schools, options to stay, because that's your number one resource. And so we're starting, I mean, there's a whole bunch we're going to announce over the next year or so that kind of took a pause with, the pandemic that's affecting us all. So, when we bring in our baristas, it's not just a job. Like, we pay their student loans, we pay their benefits, we pay their community benefits. And if they're interested in marketing or whatever, social media, we try to get them the resources, knowing full well they're not going to be there forever. But we try to help them in other, other legs of the stool, if you will, in stuff we're working on and others. So
I really want to slow down and talk about that, because I think that one of the most important things that you are doing is, like that old cliche, is putting your money where your mouth is. You're investing in your employees. You're saying, you're really saying, if you're going to work for us, I really care about you. I care about not just the person in front of me. I care about, I want to know about you. I want to invest in you. I want to invest in your future. And so this is what I'm going to do. We talked offline, and I think that was what struck me so much about,
it's super simple to me, and I'm a product of this, and I believe we all stand on the shoulders of giants, but talent is absolutely universal and opportunity is not. And opening a coffee shop in downtown Detroit isn't like the big thing, but it's a start. And we do a lot of stuff with voter registration. Hill moved his foundation there. I joined a couple of boards. We've invested in a lot of local area businesses. When we took over Roasting Plant, we got rid of all the kind of national and corporate vendors, and we source local whenever possible. Drought Juice, Detroit Kombucha, Dillis Delights, all of our kind of millwork, signage, anything that we have to do with store, we try to do small and try to do local. And the Goldman Sachs program is a great program, but I think there's so much more to do.
Right.
I brought my daughter went to Interlochen for 2 summers, and she was like, I had no idea Detroit was like this. And just getting people Detroit was once called the Paris of the West. No other city can be called that, but I've been to other cities that Uncle Dan's been in, and they've never won anything. They've never been on top. And so the folks in Detroit are really proud people. I felt completely embraced. It's one of my favorite cities in the world. I would have moved there permanently had it not been for some family health issues. But I'll be there next week and many weeks after this summer. We love what we're doing with Detroit with Roasting Plant. We're gonna have a second location at the corner. We're gonna have another location in East Riverfront. We're gonna try to bring some. I'm giving you all my secrets, but we're trying to bring a couple of star female Michelin chefs to the city who have roots there, and a lot more companies like LinkedIn. So
and I love that, because I like I said is, you're really, I think what you're doing is you're teaching your employees. And I think that's what's the everlasting component of that, is someone who's going to work within your organization. That's the lesson, because when they do leave, and they will leave, and they will have the education, that's the goal, is they're going to leave and go on. And that's what, part of the education they're going to take with them.
Yeah. And we don't do business for charity. We do business for commerce and profit. So it's a really good business. We source single origin beans from 15, 20 farms exclusively around the world. And I call it green bean economics. And we give our farmers a wholesale price instead of an auction price or a retail price, which is much more than they would get at auction, if you will. And we roast in-house. Genevieve Kapler is our coffee sommelier. She's probably top 2-3 coffee people in the world. And she's come up with these custom roasting profiles for each bean. And We have, no shortage of varieties, seasonal. And we just opened with 5 new beans, and we're pretty excited about all the other new things. The store's going to look completely different in the fall once we get in there. And
it'll be exciting because I think, I was just telling you, I was downtown on Wednesday night, and, people were walking around, and I think people are tired of staying home. So they're venturing out slowly. And you and I were just talking about, you opened Monday, and, people are starting to come.
Well,
and
what was interesting to me, and I've been an investor in the company for over 10 years. We have several airport locations, just opened a second store in London. And Hill and I own this store, and we have the Michigan license, and we have some other ideas for the company. But what's interesting is, if you're from Detroit, it's part of the tapestry of Detroit. It was down in downtown well before Shake Shack and Warby Parker and Nike. And, we aren't expecting, throngs of people while we open, but it's important to be open before everyone else and be there when people come back. And, our
it's
good
home.
friend.
It's like that home, like you want to feel you were there, and you want people to know you're there now.
And I think, the world is going through unparalleled racial protests and racial tensions that are only coming to the fore. It's been around for a while, economic and this global pandemic. But, our good friend Dennis Archer is right next door at Central Kitchen. And, there's been a lot of outpouring of support to support Black business. And, Bedrock has done an incredible job with supporting all their small businesses. They've offered an extra free month for women and minority businesses, which I don't think it was well publicized, and I don't think they do it for the press of the praise, which I really appreciate. But it's also, it is really Detroit is more than just downtown, and so some of the things that we're doing. I don't want to say what store it is, but it's a fruit company that makes phones. We're telling them we have a good sense of what they want to do and where they want to go, and it's not going to be downtown. It doesn't need, and downtown doesn't need it. And some of these other neighborhoods, you can't just come in. You have to uplift everyone around and give economic opportunities to all democratically. So.
I definitely agree. When you're teaching at young minds, what excites you about that? Like what's what are some of the key messages that you're trying to really?
I mean, it's I would say, I do a lot of stuff in sports. I teach a media and entertainment class and a financial technology class, and I'm a consumer of both. And so for me, I'm learning, it's collaborative. I'm a lifelong learner. Where if we're teaching esports, for instance, it's like I'm a gamer, but this is all new to me. I'm a huge sports fan, but it's all new to me. So I tap the network and try to bring in folks that are in the business, entrepreneurs or actual esports gamers. And I learn as much from the bright, talented minds as they learn from me. I just try to teach them frameworks to approach things, because history doesn't always repeat itself, but it tends to rhyme.
And what's that look like for the fall? Do you have any idea, like your fall classes? I keep asking people.
Yeah, I did a couple of Zoom classes this last semester.
Yeah.
It's unclear what, even with, I'm really worried about kind of the educational system and kind of mental health coming out of this, because not everyone has a support system or coping mechanisms, and need a routine. But also a lot of these schools, like if you're outside of the, top 100 or 200 schools in the country, and you're relying on students for tuition, and it's virtual, those schools may go away completely. So it's, I think, the face of education, which is not necessarily a bad thing, because it's the student loan problem in our country is as a direct result of the kind of old way of doing education. So,
well, you enlightened me the other day offline about something, and then I started talking about it, and everyone's like, oh, I want more information on that. So I might have you be doing a webinar really soon for everyone with your wealth of knowledge on
I'm really good at cocktail parties, and
yeah, you're like you are a good cocktail. The amount of information that Matty knows is unbelievable. For another time. What so you talked a little bit about Roasting Planet, and I'm not going to keep you that long because this is the busiest man. I know busy people, but you can already see that his phone is ringing, and I love that. I've told people all week long since I've been doing these FaceTime lives, like we're in stores, retail stores, and their doors are opening and their phones are going and they're like freaking out, like, because we're live. And I'm like, no, that's good. That's good. It's like commerce, you know? So I love that your phone is ringing because that means people want you. But we talked a little bit about what's coming for Roasting Planet. What else is coming? What else can you like share? Give me the scoop. What other projects are you working on?
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't tell you all of them because some of them affect publicly traded companies, and it's not my thunder to steal. But yeah, I think.
Wait, why? We're live. Who's gonna know?
But
never tell a publicist something.
But yeah, and I think there is the one thing. You can't teach passion. You can't teach attitude, and Detroit has so many talented young minds, and it's a lot easier for a big company to come to Detroit and cost effective than to pay them Silicon Valley prices or Chicago or New York prices. So stay tuned. Big things happening.
I love that. I think that sounds like we should. I mean, I think, I get worried about Detroit. I get worried about the suburbs too. I always say that because, I have so many clients in the suburbs. I get worried about this pandemic with Detroit. Most people know right now, like I wake up at 1 a.m, 2 a.m. I don't sleep because.
I mean, it's unprecedented, but
yeah. And I worry about.
You can't have progress without conflict. So I think, if someone told me, and my daughter, when she found out Barack in his second term was like the first black president, she's like, wait, what do you mean we haven't had a black president? And then when Hillary is running, wait, what do you mean we didn't have and now she's like, why do we have an orange president? So I say that in jest, but I think, sometimes you have to go through the valleys. You have to go through the valleys to get back on top of the mountain. And I think it takes, 3 nationwide simultaneous crises to kind of move forward. And sometimes, that needs to happen. So everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. I think we're closer to the middle than the beginning, which is good. We've seen, I'm the ultimate cynic as well, but people are really putting resources, statements, words, and actions and capital behind it. And those are, 3 of the 5 things you need for actual impact and progress.
Well, when I say I get worried, it's because I do think that obviously this has been unprecedented, and I think we have to take some baby steps, and people are going to have to start stepping out a little bit and do, I don't walk in anyone else's shoes than my own, and I don't look in anyone else's mirror but my own, but people have to, start stepping out and support local and get out into their cities and feel comfortable and the way they do. And I have this motto behind me with Bruce Springsteen, which we talked about, but it's talk about a dream and try and make it real. And I always that's my motto, and I just feel like it's time. and because we don't know what the fall is going to look like. And so now's the time to really support entrepreneurs.
Absolutely. It's Naval Ravikant, who's founder of AngelList, which he has a saying, it's the cheapest time in the history of the universe to fail. Meaning you can build it used to be a couple million in a couple of years to build an enterprise software product, and it's like 6 months and then to build an app with off the shelf stuff. So the only way like to fail early and to fail often is some of the best lessons you get. And it's not really a failure if you move on to bigger and better things. It's more of a learning experience. So I try to teach my kid and my students to dream big. My daughter's name is Luna, and I tell her to dream outside of the earth even. So it's I don't know. I think like I see these kid citizens and activists and marches, and it gets me excited for the youth.
Yeah.
And I see entrepreneurship and this mentorship and everyone trying to start things, and some of the best companies, some of the best enterprises, some of the best ideas come out of crises because of necessity, not because a bountiful riches. So
and they're gonna fail, and they may fail big, and from the I like to say from those failures there'll be successes, and they'll learn from the failures and move on, which is great. I mean, I think that I only getting to know you from right now, but I've got to believe that you will become quickly one of my mentors, because I really believe that people in life should have mentors. That is really something, whether they're my clients, friends, I believe strongly in mentors, but I've got to believe that you have a lot of students who they should put you, and I believe that they do put you in that category.
I mean, it's I think there are a lot of people who give money to charity, and I think that's great if you have it, but a lot of people don't. But our biggest currency is time, and what you can do with your money is the same thing you can do with your time. Is you can spend it, waste it, save it, or invest it. And great skill is to being able to recognize talent and invest in that talent, because if you're spending your time with a lot of people, you tend to end up wasting your time, and you don't get more time. So I try to edit down the people I spend time with and focus on the people I invest time with.
So the good news is we're going to have a drink soon. But my last question is one that I love to ask on my podcast. It's just a fun one, and it's pretty cliche. I start that way. If you could have dinner, 3 people, dead or alive, who would you have dinner with? Dinner and drinks.
Man, I've actually had this. It keeps changing.
That's good.
Yeah, it depends. So you said drinks. It depends on what we're talking about. But I mean, there's a lot of historical figures and a lot of fictional characters. I think Jimi Hendrix would be up there, just because anyone who's like I think
my husband would join you on that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and it might that would be I would check. I'd probably that would probably be a couple of days. And then I don't know. I tend to characterize there's certain people in this like freak genius category. Like, I have no idea how they operate. They're not linear. They don't even, like most of society. Most of them are musicians as well. So like Prince, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And then I don't know. I'd like to see some of the folks who shaped some of the folks I love. So they're relatives that I've never met. My dad's mom and dad I've never met. So.
I like that.
Yeah.
I find it, I got into PR because I love telling stories. So I always say this is like one of those cliche questions, but I find it to also be just a really fun question to ask people, because I do find that it gives such great insight to people. And then I always find that I want to sit down and have dinner with who they want to have dinner with.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been blessed to have dinner with some of the folks that I like have wanted to kind of meet since whenever, as my life has progressed. So I've been fortunate that way, but to try to get them, I actually had an idea for, a charity app where you pay for the right to have time with people over whatever. Yeah.
Well, let's work on that. We'll talk about that one. I do not want to take much more of your time because your phone is going to go off. You and I are going to catch up for sure later today. I'm going to find you.
Great. Yeah, and I apologize. Hill, I know this was about me, but I know Hill wanted to make it, and next time we can
it was about you. We'll catch
a three-way.
Hill, we can catch Hill another time. He's a busy guy. I hope, truly, I hope for Hill's sake, besides all of his entrepreneur things, I hope that he can get back in the acting world. That's a whole different crazy life right now. I mean,
The Good Doctor is the most streamed show in the world, apparently. And it's,
can you imagine everybody shooting with masks on? I mean,
right.
I mean, it's the world is changing enough. I don't want my TV shows to now be in masks.
Right.
So,
well, one of the things we're working on is to bring some film production back to Detroit as well. So stay tuned on that.
I hope so. It was a fun time when, when Batman was running around Detroit and all those, so Detroit loves that. And I think, we have amazing backdrops, real backdrops.
Absolutely.
I'm actually working on a film you and I can talk about. It should be shot here because the whole world, it took place here. So
fantastic.
So I hope it happens. There's nothing better than real. So so great to see you. Glad I caught up with you. I know you've been traveling all week.
Yes.
We will talk later today.
I can see you next week when I'm in Detroit.
You got it. Take care. Thanks for your time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.